You bought a digital piano. You need headphones. The piano brand sells a pair right there. $40, $100, maybe $150 if they think you really trust the name on the keys. That trust is costing you. The headphone inside that piano branded box was not designed by an acoustic engineer. It was designed by a product manager who needed a SKU to attach to a hardware sale. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which 6 brands are robbing piano players blind, and exactly 3 that are worth every dollar you spend on them. Number 9. Yamaha Headphones. Yamaha's headphone line exploits the most trusted name in digital pianos to sell mid-tier consumer drivers at a premium their acoustic engineering cannot justify. Yamaha is a legitimate musical instrument manufacturer with 4 generations of credibility in piano, wind, and string design. That credibility does not transfer to transducer engineering. The HPH line exists primarily as a bundled accessory play, not as a standalone acoustic product developed by headphone specialists. These headphones retail somewhere in the $60 to $150 range depending on the model, with a standard 40mm driver and an impedance that sits around 32 to 40 ohms. Third-party frequency response measurements show a pronounced upper mid-range peak that is specifically unflattering for piano reproduction. The register where piano harmonics live gets pushed forward in a way that causes listener fatigue during long practice sessions. No published driver material specification, no published damping factor, nothing that would let you evaluate what you are actually buying before the box opens. The badge does the selling. A piano student sees the same logo on the headphones as on the instrument and assumes the acoustic pairing was deliberate. It was not. Independent headphone measurement communities consistently show the HPH line performing below sub-$50 competitors from dedicated headphone manufacturers on the metrics that matter for accurate piano reproduction: channel matching, bass extension, and mid-range neutrality. You are not buying a better listening experience. You are buying the Yamaha logo on both sides of the piano bench. The next brand charges even more for a name that used to mean something entirely different. Number 8. Roland branded headphone accessories. Roland's headphone accessories ride the brand's synthesizer and digital piano legacy into price tiers their transducer specs cannot defend. Roland is a foundational name in electronic musical instruments, and their keyboard and piano products carry genuine engineering pedigree. Their headphone accessories do not share that pedigree. Roland has, at various points, partnered with or sourced from consumer headphone manufacturers to produce co-branded product, and the result retails somewhere between $80 and $200 depending on the line. The marketing language emphasizes phrases like designed for musical instruments and professional monitoring, but here's where it gets cynical. Neither phrase carries a technical standard, a third-party certification, or a published measurement requirement that would let a buyer verify the claim. Any brand can print those words. Designed for musical instruments is unregulated. It is whatever the marketing department decided that morning. Independent measurements, where they exist, show performance comparable to generic consumer headphones at a fraction of the retail price. Piano forums and musician communities consistently report that comparably priced dedicated headphone brands outperform Roland branded accessories on the core metrics that matter for practice: low frequency extension for the bass register, channel-to-channel consistency, and clamping force comfort across multi-hour sessions. The instrument name is doing work the headphones themselves cannot do. Up next is a brand taking a different approach, charging you a price that looks like a deal, and building in the reason it isn't. Number 7. Behringer Piano Marketed Headphones. Behringer's headphone line markets studio-adjacent language to piano players at price points that look like savings and deliver build quality that explains exactly why. Behringer is a high-volume budget audio brand owned by Music Group, manufacturing across mixers, interfaces, microphones, and headphones at aggressive price points. The piano-adjacent models in their lineup, hovering around $20 to $35, position themselves with professional and studio language while using plastic construction and driver assemblies consistent with that price tier. The clamping force is inconsistent unit to unit. The headband padding compresses within months of regular use. The cable is typically non-replaceable, which is the critical detail, because the cable connection at the jack is the first failure point on a headphone used daily. Here's the math reframe nobody puts on the box. A $25 headphone you replace every 12 to 18 months because the cable dies, costs you $50 to $75 over 3 years, and gives you 3 separate cable failures interrupting practice sessions along the way. A single $75 purpose-built practice headphone with a replaceable cable lasts 5 years and costs you nothing after the initial purchase. The product is not a fraud at launch. It does what it says on day one. The architecture ensures it stops doing so on a timeline that serves replacement sales rather than your practice. A product built to be discarded is not a budget option. It is a subscription you never agreed to. The next brand charges significantly more and still makes the same fundamental trade-off look like a premium investment. Number 6. Audio-Technica ATH-S budget line as sold in piano bundles. Audio-Technica's brand credibility in professional monitoring is real, and it is being used to sell piano players the wrong tier of product at the right tier price. Audio-Technica makes genuinely respected professional headphones. The ATH M50X is a legitimate studio standard used in recording facilities worldwide. The problem is that the budget ATH-S series, frequently bundled with digital pianos and sold in music retailer packages, shares the brand name and almost nothing else with that professional line. These models retail somewhere in the $30 to $60 range, closed-back design, which is actually appropriate for practice isolation, but with a frequency response that has a bass-heavy V-shaped tuning, boosted lows, boosted highs, and a recessed mid-range. That tuning is a consumer entertainment profile. It is specifically wrong for piano practice because the mid-range is the harmonic core of the instrument. A pianist practicing with V-shaped headphones is not hearing their touch dynamics accurately. A soft passage sounds more present than it is. A loud passage sounds brighter than the instrument warrants. Music retailers bundle the ATH-S line because Audio-Technica provides competitive wholesale pricing, and the brand name closes the upsell conversation without friction. The buyer believes they are getting professional Audio-Technica quality. They are getting a consumer tuning philosophy that the professional arm of the same company explicitly rejects in its own studio products. Same badge. Opposite philosophy. The next brand invented a problem you did not know you had, sold you the solution, and called it a feature. Number 5. Sennheiser HD 200 Pro as positioned by piano retailers. The HD 200 Pro is a decent DJ and entry monitor headphone being sold to piano players as a practice tool, a positioning that fits the retailer's margin better than it fits the pianist's needs. Sennheiser is a credible audio manufacturer, and the HD 200 Pro is a real product with legitimate use cases in DJ monitoring and entry-level music production. It is not a piano practice headphone. It retails in the $50 to $70 range with a single-sided cable exit and a frequency response tuned for electronic music and rhythm-forward monitoring, a bass shelf and a high-frequency presence that does not serve the tonal balance of acoustic piano reproduction. The issue is not build quality. The HD 200 Pro is physically competent. The issue is tonal targeting, and Sennheiser does not market this headphone for piano practice anywhere in their own materials. The mechanism here is the retailer, not the manufacturer. Piano retailers build everything you need. Packages, instrument, bench, sustain pedal, headphones. And the headphone slot gets filled by whichever brand offers the most favorable wholesale terms at a price point that will not stall the bundle sale. The buyer assumes the package was curated by someone thinking about acoustic compatibility. It was curated by someone thinking about bundle margin. Piano teachers and forum communities consistently steer students away from bundle headphones for exactly this reason, citing tonal mismatches that undermine the ear training that piano practice is supposed to build. You did not know you were buying a DJ headphone. Neither did the salesperson who handed it to you. The last brand on this half of the list is the most audacious. They built a product specifically for piano players and still got the fundamental architecture wrong. Number 4. Koss Porta Pro and Koss Piano Adjacent Marketing. Koss built a genuinely beloved open-back headphone decades ago and has been trading on that legacy ever since, while the competitive landscape moved well past them. Koss is an American headphone company with a real innovation history. They produced some of the first consumer stereo headphones, and the Porta Pro is a legitimate classic. It is also an open back design, and that is the architectural problem that nothing else about the product can fix. Open back headphones have no isolation. Sound passes freely through the ear cups in both directions. Every note you play on the piano bleeds back into the headphone and out into the room. In an apartment, a practice studio, a shared living space, or anywhere that is not a dedicated solo room, this defeats the entire purpose of headphone practice. The Porta Pro retails in the $50 to $70 range with minimal updates to a design that is now several decades old. Koss markets a lifetime warranty, which covers normal use, wear and tear, though it typically requires you to ship the product for service and has turnaround times that vary considerably. The lifetime warranty on the wrong tool is still the wrong tool. Piano retail recommendations continue to cite the Koss legacy and the warranty as reasons to recommend it for practice use, because brand reputation persists long after product specifications stop supporting the use case. An open-back headphone on a piano is containment in one direction only. Those 6 brands are all counting on the same thing, that you will trust the bundle, trust the badge, and trust the logo you already know from the keyboard before you look at what is actually inside. Drop a comment right now. What headphones are you currently using with your piano? I want to know if you already figured this out, or if you are about to go check the box sitting in a drawer somewhere. Let's continue. Those were the 6 brands banking on your trust, working harder than their engineering. Here are 3 where the engineering is the whole point. Number 3, Sony MDR7506. The MDR7506 has been in continuous production for decades because professional recording engineers kept buying it. And everything that makes it right for a studio makes it right for a piano practice room. Sony's MDR7506 is a professional monitoring headphone in use at recording studios globally. It was not designed for piano specifically. It was designed for accurate reproduction across the full frequency range, which is exactly what a pianist developing touch dynamics and tonal awareness actually needs. It retails consistently in the $80 to $100 range, closed back for isolation, with a 63 ohm impedance and a long, rugged coiled cable. Replacement earpads are widely available from multiple third-party suppliers for well under $20. The design has not changed substantially in decades, which means the parts ecosystem, the repair knowledge base, and the third-party accessory market are all mature and deep. The monitoring tuning means the mid-range that carries piano harmonics is neither boosted nor recessed. What you hear is what you are actually playing. Dynamics training, voicing work, and tone development are served honestly. Third-party validation does not get more direct than this. The MDR7506 has been in continuous use in professional environments that replace equipment at the first sign of performance degradation, and it has survived in those environments for over 30 years of continuous production. $80, 30 years of professional use, every wearable part replaceable. The next recommendation costs a little more and goes further on every single metric. Number 2, Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro. Beyerdynamic manufactures their drivers in Germany, publishes their specifications, makes every wearable part available for independent replacement, and backs it with a service network that treats a headphone like a piece of equipment rather than a consumable. Beyerdynamic has been producing professional headphones since the 1930s. The DT770 Pro is a closed-back monitoring headphone available in multiple impedance configurations. The 80 ohm variant is the recommendation for home digital piano use, where the headphone output impedance of most instruments is moderate. The brand manufactures its transducers in-house, which means the driver sourcing is not pulled from the same consumer OEM pool serving dozens of unrelated brands. It retails in the $130 to $180 range depending on configuration. Every structural component that degrades is user replaceable. Earpads and headband cushions are easily swapped and sold directly through Beyerdynamic, though replacing the fixed cable requires soldering. Replacement pads run $20 to $30. The frequency response has a slight bass presence and controlled top-end extension appropriate for piano monitoring. It adds warmth to the low register without masking the mid-range where piano dynamics live. Owners in professional use report typical lifespans of 8 to 15 years with periodic pad replacement. No X, no proprietary parts trap, no sealed architecture forcing a replacement conversation. Just a headphone built to be maintained rather than discarded, with German manufacturing tolerances and a specification sheet they are not afraid to publish. Independent measurement databases confirm tight channel matching and consistent frequency response unit to unit. The manufacturing consistency that matters when one ear hearing differently than the other corrupts your dynamics training. If you want to never think about headphones again, the next one is the answer. Number 1. Audio-Technica ATH M50X. The ATH M50X is what the piano bundled ATH-S pretends to be. A flat monitoring closed-back headphone built to professional standards, with replaceable cables and a measurement-validated frequency response that serves piano practice honestly. This is the same brand that appeared at number 6 on the villain half of this list, and that is not an accident. It is the entire point. Audio-Technica's professional monitoring line is manufactured to different tolerances and tuned to a completely different target than the consumer budget line retailers drop into piano bundles. The M50X retails in the $130 to $180 range and ships with 3 interchangeable cables, straight long, straight short, and coiled, all detachable via a locking connector. Closed back for isolation. The frequency response is widely measured and published by independent measurement organizations, showing the slight mid-bass presence, an extended top end typical of studio monitoring tuning, without the V-shaped consumer curve of its cheaper sibling. Driver construction is built to professional manufacturing tolerance, with tight channel matching documented across multiple independent measurements. For a pianist, the flat monitoring tuning is not an abstract virtue. It means a pianissimo passage sounds like a pianissimo passage, not like a consumer audio experience designed to make quiet music feel exciting. Touch sensitivity training is acoustically honest. The detachable cable eliminates the primary failure mode that makes headphones disposable, making the transducer assembly itself the durable long-term component it was built to be. The ATH M50X has been in continuous production for over a decade with consistent parts and accessory availability. It is the closed loop on everything in this video. Same brand name as a product we called out, costs less than some of the instruments you practice on, and outperforms everything sold in a piano bundle on every metric that matters for your ears and your playing. In the piano headphone market, the worst products do not fail loudly. They fail quietly, with a cable that dies 6 months after the warranty, with a tuning that makes your pianissimo sound like your forte, with a brand name that earned its credibility on a different product entirely and is spending that credibility in a piano accessory bundle. You practice to hear yourself accurately. You practice to build the kind of touch and dynamics that only develop when the feedback is honest. Your headphones either serve that, or they quietly undermine it. Drop the headphones you are currently using in the comments. If they are on the villain half of this list, I will tell you exactly what to replace them with. If they are already on the hero half, you already know. If this video saved you from a purchase you would have regretted, subscribe so you do not miss the next one. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.